They can't hurt you unless you let them. You ever been hit with a sentence that stays in your blood? Not a punch, not a slap, just words. One line, one crooked laugh, one dismissive look from someone who doesn't even matter. And somehow, it carves a hole in your day. Now your stomach's tight, your jaw's clenched, and you're replaying it in your head like a broken film reel you didn't ask for. Sound familiar? That's not coincidence. That's programming. You see, most people don't live in the world. They live in reactions, a text, a tone, a raised eyebrow. And suddenly, their entire identity is under siege, not by facts, not by fire, but by someone else's noise. And here's what no one taught you. The leash they yank, it's not theirs, it's yours. You just forgot you tied it around your own neck, begging to be pulled. Let that settle. Because you weren't born with chains. You built them out of old wounds, childhood roles, emotional hand-me-downs. You became a puppet. Not because they're strong, but because you were never taught how to stop dancing. But today, you're waking up. And that changes everything. If this hit you, Darkside Demeanor, don't just watch. Join the rebellion. Truth number 1, your reactions are the chains, and they've been robbing you blind. Let me tell you what anger really is. It's a signal, but not always a true one. Sometimes it's a disguise, a mask fear wears when it's scared to admit it's hurt. You don't get mad because of them. You get mad because something inside you still needs to be seen by someone else. Let that land. You want them to respect you, to get it, to play fair. You want the story in your head to match the chaos of reality. But it won't, because life doesn't care about your script, and neither do people. Most of them are actors in their own twisted movie. And guess what? You're just a background extra in their scene, a blurry face behind their trauma. And the moment you react, you step on their stage, their drama, their control. Let me hand you the key they never gave you, your reaction. It's the leash. Every time you snap, scream, sulk, or spiral, you're confirming what they hoped, that they can reach inside your skull and press your buttons. That's the black pill truth. Your emotions are on Airbnb, and everyone you've ever tried to impress has a spare key. But Stoicism? That's the lock you change when you finally stop begging for entry to places that never respected your peace. Next time they test you, don't flinch, don't bark, go still, like a wolf who knows he could bite, but chooses silence instead. Picture this. You're underwater. Pressure's building. Your chest wants to explode. But you pause. You breathe. Slow, deep, controlled. Not because it's easy, but because you own your lungs, not them. Now ask yourself, is this pain mine? Or did I just adopt someone else's poison and call it personal? Because most of the weight you carry was handed to you by parents who never healed, by lovers who needed control, by bosses who played God, by strangers who spit their venom into your timeline for a second of power. You don't have to pick it up. You don't have to swing back. You don't have to prove you're strong by yelling louder. True strength whispers. It pauses. It watches the chaos and says, "Not mine," and walks away clean. That's not weakness. That's warriorship. Stay here. This is just the beginning. What comes next? We'll cut deeper, because the more you remember your power, the less you'll care who tries to take it. Now tell me, brother, what's the last thing you gave your energy to that wasn't worth it? Write it below. Burn it. Bury it. Or let it keep owning you. Your move. Truth number 2. They'll never be you. Stop bleeding for ghosts. You ever hold the line for people who drop the rope on you the second it gets heavy? Yeah, me too. You show up. You check in. You cover for them, ride for them, forgive them before they even say sorry. But when it's your turn? Crickets. Or worse. Silence that feels like betrayal with a smile. And I know what you tell yourself. They're just busy. They didn't mean it. You make excuses for ghosts, because deep down, you don't want to admit the truth. They're not built like you. Never were. They don't think how you think. Don't love how you love. Don't carry the same emotional weight in their hands. Hell, some of them don't carry anything at all. And that right there, that will break you if you let it. Here's the cutthroat reality they don't teach you in therapy. Your code is yours. Not universal, not contagious, not mandatory. You learned it through fire, through scars, through nights you told no one about. And now, you expect people who've never bled like you to respect the way you walk? They can't, because they don't know the cost of your silence. They've never had to pay for loyalty and pain. So every time you think, I would never do that to someone, good. That's not a signal to change them. That's a mirror. It reflects your code, your ethic, your standard. But here's the catch. When you weaponize your standard against reality, you create your own suffering. You scream, they should have shown up. And maybe they should have. But they didn't. So now what? You gonna bleed for a lesson they refuse to learn? Or you gonna protect your energy like it's sacred? Because it is. Let me break it to you in street terms. You're a candle. You bring light, warmth, direction. But too many people out here, they're wind. And every time you get close to them, they blow, disrupt, distort, disappear. And then you're left relighting yourself again and again, wondering why you keep burning out. You ever ask why you're so damn tired all the time? Here's your answer. You keep trying to build bonfires with people who only know how to smother. There's a Stoic proverb they don't quote much anymore. Don't ask the river to run backward just because you miss what it carried away. People will leave you, forget you, fail you, and sometimes they'll come back, act like nothing happened. Let them. But don't open the same door twice for the same storm, because expecting them to act like you, to love like you, to think with your heart, that's like begging a mirror to show someone else's face. Ain't gonna happen. So what do? You stop playing God with other people's growth. You stop managing their character like it's your responsibility. And you start doing the one thing that breaks the entire code. You accept them. Exactly. As they are messy, inconsistent, conditional, distracted. Not because you like it, but because once you accept it, you stop suffering under it. Here's the twist. Letting go of the fantasy that they'll change isn't giving up. It's waking up. Because the storm, it's theirs. And you don't have to keep standing in the rain. Stoic shift. Let them be wrong. Let them win. Let it burn. You ever win an argument and still feel like you lost a piece of your soul? You out-talked them, out-reasoned them, crushed every angle with cold logic. But after it's over, you're hollow. That's not victory. That's ego tax. And it costs more than it's worth. Because here's the truth. They hide under all the shouting. When you're at peace, you don't argue. You observe. You choose. You walk away clean. Let them think they outsmarted you. Let them talk like they put you in your place. Let them win their little war. You don't need the last word. You don't need the scoreboard. You need silence, stillness, sovereignty. The kind of quiet power that scares people because they can't manipulate it. Want to know how to spot real power? Watch the man who doesn't need to clap back. Watch the man who can sit in a room full of noise and not twitch. He doesn't react. He doesn't correct. He doesn't defend his name like it's up for debate, because he knows who he is. And no insult, no misunderstanding, no pathetic attempt at disrespect can touch that. Next time someone gets loud with you, sarcastic, smug, don't meet them there. Let them talk, then walk. They'll be arguing with your absence. That's how you win without ever raising your voice. That's Darkside Demeanor. Still with me, brother? Good. Now comment something real. What expectation still haunts you? Name it, burn it, or let it break you again. Up next, we go deeper. Into the war between validation and silence. Into the quiet death of self-worth at the hands of praise. Want it? Say the word. Reality slap. Your worth ain't a democracy. You ever watch someone laugh at your dream, and you smiled back like it didn't kill something inside? Yeah. That moment? That's where most people sell their soul. Not for money, not for fame, for approval. You let their opinions auction off your self-worth, like it's a used car on Craigslist. A little compliment here, a passive dig there, and you bend, twist, performance, trying to be liked, trying to be enough. But listen closely. You were never meant to be liked. You were meant to be unshakable. Here's the deep truth most men never wake up to. You don't need applause. You need self-respect, not the performative kind, not the gym body quote-posting alpha mask kind. I'm talking about the quiet kind, the kind that watches someone disrespect you, and instead of barking back, you go silent, cold, controlled, done. Because when you know what you're worth, you don't negotiate it. See, most people, they live like storefronts. Their value rises and falls with foot traffic. One like, I'm good. One unfollow equals I'm broken. You ever notice how validation is like sugar? It hits quick, then disappears. So you crave more. But the more you chase it, the more power you give away. They compliment your clothes. Now you can't wear anything else. They laugh at your joke. Now you rehearse your whole personality. They mock your plan. Now you doubt your purpose. And without even realizing it, you've outsourced your identity. Let me rip this open a little deeper. The US military did a study once. Prisoners of war, strong men, mentally collapsed, not from beatings, but from mockery. Subtle attacks, mind games, a laugh that says you're a joke. Why? Because ridicule bypasses logic. It cuts where pride lives. It makes you question who you are. And once that question's in your blood, you'll beg to be seen right again, even by the ones who made you bleed. But here's the blackout truth. You are not their mirror. You are not their echo. You are not their puppet. Your worth? It's in how you walk when the room's quiet, how you speak when no one agrees, how you stand when everything in you wants to fold. That's the crown. That's Darkside Demeanor. So next time someone mocks your fire, don't dim it. Let it burn brighter. Even if they squint, especially if they squint. Now let's talk boundaries. Challenge. Say no like a weapon. Let me ask you this. How many times have you said yes, with a voice that felt like it was choking on its own blood? You smiled, nodded, agreed to things that cracked your spirit in half. All because you didn't want to seem rude. All because you didn't want to lose them. But newsflash, brother. They were never yours if you had to betray yourself to keep them. Let me break it down. Every time you say yes to their comfort, while your soul's screaming no, you're not being kind. You're being compliant. You're not generous. You're desperate to not be abandoned. You're playing the loyal soldier in a war they never even knew you were fighting. And you wonder why you're bitter, why you're drained, why your chest feels like a coffin at 3 a.m. It's because you've been setting yourself on fire to keep people warm, who would leave the second your flames go out. Here's the power phrase. Ready? That doesn't work for me. No explanation, no guilt, no essay. Say it flat. Let the silence afterward hit like thunder. If they respect you, they'll understand. If they don't, they never did. Either way, you win. Because the man who can say no without panic is a man who finally stopped begging for permission to exist. There's an ancient Japanese saying, the nail that sticks out gets hammered. But what they don't tell you? The hammer gets tired, the nail gets stronger, and one day, the nail becomes the sword. Let this be your sword. That doesn't work for me. Say it in your head the next time your phone rings, and it's someone who only calls when they need something. Say it when someone dumps their mess in your lap and expects you to clean it with a smile. Say it when you're about to say yes, but your gut? It's already shaking its head. That's not guilt. That's intuition. And it's time you started listening. Here's your challenge. Write it in the comments. That doesn't work for me. If you can say it publicly, you'll start saying it privately, then silently, then automatically. And that's the goal. Unapologetic alignment, non-negotiable energy, peace without permission. Still here? Good. Then you're not soft. You're just waking up. And when you wake up, you stop giving your energy to thieves. Because the truth? No is not rejection. No is resurrection. Say it. Own it. And never explain it again. 7. Dark depths. What if you never let go? Close your eyes. Now tell me, what's still playing in your head? That betrayal that cracked your chest open. That look they gave you like you were nothing. That fake apology wrapped in poison. Yeah, still there, isn't it? It shows up in the silence, in your sleep, in the way you pause before trusting anyone now. That's the thing about wounds you don't close. They start living rent-free inside you. And before you know it, you're building a home around your own damage. But let me ask you straight. What exactly are you waiting for? An apology that'll never come? A redo of a moment that's already in the dirt? Some divine justice to make it all make sense? It won't. Because the past doesn't rewind. It repeats until you cut the cord. Here's a cold truth no one likes to admit. Most grudges aren't about justice. They're about ego. You wanted them to suffer, to feel what you felt, to know they messed with the wrong soul. But while you're rehearsing revenge in your mind, guess what they're doing? They're sleeping, eating, posting selfies with filters over the chaos they caused. They forgot. And you are still bleeding. Let that sink in. You are loyal to a pain they left behind like trash, and you keep picking it up, polishing it, naming it unhealed, as if carrying it makes you stronger. It doesn't. It makes you a prisoner guarding a cell no one else remembers. Here's a visual. You're holding a blade to your own throat, but it has their fingerprints on it. And every time you replay the story, you twist it a little deeper. But what if the real flex wasn't getting even? What if it was getting empty? Clear, light, clean. Not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to carry nothing. In Zen, there's a parable. 2 monks walking in silence. They cross a river, help a woman across. Hours later, one monk says, "Why did you touch her?" "We're not supposed to." The other replies, "I set her down by the river. Why are you still carrying her?" Read that again. You keep lifting ghosts that were never yours to hold. And here's what makes this sinister. Your body keeps score. Studies show that unprocessed resentment gets stored like emotional scar tissue in your muscles, in your gut, in your immune system. That ulcer, that constant fatigue, that tightness in your throat, yeah, that's not bad luck. That's rage with nowhere to go. But when you let go, and I mean really let go, it's not forgiveness, it's freedom. You're not saying, what they did was okay. You're saying, I'm not letting this live in me anymore. Because you're not here to win arguments that ended years ago. You're not here to be the judge, jury, and executioner for people who don't even think about you anymore. You're here to walk like fire and not get burned by old ashes. 8. Reclamation. Let silence be your revenge, because the loudest weapon is the one that never fires. Let me tell you about silence. It ain't passive, it ain't soft, and it sure as hell ain't surrender. It's power, condensed, weaponized, holy. Silence is how killers move, how survivors process, how the real ones plot. When they insult you, smile. When they provoke, pause. When they rant, breathe. Why? Because people don't know what to do with someone who won't react. See, most people are addicts, not to drugs, but to drama. They poke you, prod you, say something slick, just to see if you'll bleed on command. You think that argument is about the topic? Nah, it's a test, a leash. They want proof that they can still control your weather. But silence? Silence is cloudless, unshaken, untouchable. Here's how this works. Next time someone throws shade, don't engage, don't explain, don't match energy. Instead, lock eyes, say nothing. Let their noise fall into your stillness like a stone in a lake, then watch it disappear. That's clarity. That's Darkside Demeanor. Let me give you a real-world secret. In high-level negotiations, the most dangerous man is the one who stays quiet. Because silence forces the other side to reveal more. They overtalk, overjustify, expose their weaknesses trying to break yours. You want control? Try shutting the hell up. Let the chaos spin. You stay rooted, like the storm owes you rent. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence." Not because it avoids conflict, but because it starves it. Anger needs fuel. Your reaction is that fuel. Don't give it. Let them burn their own firewood. So, here's your ritual. Next time it happens, the disrespect, the bait, the slap in disguise, do nothing. Say nothing. Let silence be the tombstone to their noise. And when they come back confused, triggered, trying harder, you'll know it worked. Because you didn't just win. You outgrew the war. Still watching? Good. Then comment this below. I carry nothing now. 3 words. 1 rebellion. Say it like a blade. Mean it like a man. Walk like you just dropped 100 pounds of dead weight. You're not here to fight everyone. You're here to be unshakable. And that makes them nervous. Stoic truth. Anger can't breathe. Where gratitude lives. You ever try to stay angry while being grateful for the breath in your lungs? It doesn't work. Can't, won't, never will. It's like trying to scream underwater. Rage can't survive in an oxygen-rich environment. And gratitude? That's oxygen for the soul. But don't get it twisted. Gratitude ain't soft. It's not journaling with lo-fi beats and herbal tea. It's not some Pinterest affirmation you repeat in a whisper voice. It's savage. It's the art of stealing the blade from life's throat and saying, "You don't get to break me. I already know I've won." Here's what they never taught you. Anger is loud because it's scared. Gratitude is silent because it's unshakable. Anger is reaction. Gratitude is rebellion. Because when everything goes sideways, and you still manage to find one thing to hold on to. You just proved you're bigger than the storm. Let me paint the picture. You're stuck in traffic, clock ticking, plans burning, pressure mounting, your jaws tight, your hands twitching. But instead of punching the wheel, you exhale. You say, "At least I've got a car. At least I've got somewhere worth going. At least I'm not walking through life with nothing to lose." Boom, shift, rewire. The rage short circuits. And you just alchemized frustration into power. You ever notice the people who carry peace like armor? The ones who smile while everything crumbles? They're not in denial. They've just stopped waiting for perfection to be happy. They've realized that control is an illusion, and presence is the prize. Gratitude is presence, multiplied. Here's a dark psychological twist. When you focus on what's missing, you activate the brain's default mode network. It thrives on comparison, regret, insecurity. But when you scan for what's here, what's real, what's enough, you activate the prefrontal cortex. That's where self-mastery lives. The Stoics called it eudaimonia, a calm, contented state that no external force can take from you. Translation: gratitude rewires your mind for war. It gives you poise in pain, stillness in insult, leverage in loss. Because when you own the present, nobody can steal it. Here's your daily practice. When life spits in your face, don't flinch, don't whine. Zoom out, breathe in, anchor down. Say this: "You can't take from me, because I've already chosen enough." That's not a quote. That's your bulletproof vest. Now let's flip the blade. Let's talk about what hurts more than anger. Criticism. Final drop. Growth wears a mask. Called criticism, the medicine no one wants but every king takes. You ever notice how people only criticize those who move? You stay still. Nobody says a word. You build something. Suddenly everyone's got opinions. You change your life. They call you fake, selfish, lost, arrogant. But here's what they don't say out loud. Your evolution threatens their comfort, because when you rise, you reflect everything they're not. And that mirror, it burns. So what do? They poke holes, they mock, they whisper. Not because you're broken, but because you stopped playing small. Here's the trap most men fall into. You hear the criticism, and you believe it. Why? Because you still crave being understood. You still want the people from your past to cheer for the version of you they no longer recognize. But real growth? It's lonely. It's misunderstood. It's mocked. It wears the face of rejection. But underneath, it's initiation. Criticism is feedback, but only if you have the guts to face it without folding. Every harsh word is a mirror, and only the brave say, "Show me what I missed. Show me where to sharpen." Not because I need your approval, but because I value the truth more than my pride. Let me whisper this. Sometimes they're right. Most times they're projecting. Your job? Discern the lesson and discard the venom. Use the signal. Dodge the noise. Because if you're hiding from criticism, you're hiding from the light. And when you hide from the light, you stay in the dark with your potential in chains. But if you walk into the flame, if you let that heat purify you, you become untouchable. Not perfect, but precise. Here's your closing ritual. Next time they criticize you, don't defend, don't justify, don't attack back. Instead, smile with your eyes. Absorb what's useful. Discard the rest like ash, and whisper to yourself, "This is sharpening me," because it is. Every critique you survive without crumbling cements your throne. Darkside closure. The quiet crown. You've made it this far, not because you followed every rule, but because something in you refused to stay asleep. Every piece you've just heard, wasn't information. It was remembrance. You already knew. You just forgot. Because the world is loud, but the truth, it whispers. And now that you've heard it again, you've got a choice. Go back to reacting like a puppet, or rise like the quiet storm you were always meant to be. Here's what you need to carry forward. Your emotions, yours, not theirs. Your boundaries, sacred, non-negotiable. Your silence, weaponized wisdom. Your path, built alone, walked alone, owned alone. Let others misunderstand you. Let them laugh, talk, ghost, twist, betray, project, gossip. Let them. Because none of that matters when you've chosen clarity over chaos. None of them can reach a man who's no longer performing. From now on, you don't chase peace. You become it. You don't seek validation. You embody value. You don't react to the noise. You control the frequency. So if this video cracked something open in you, if you felt seen in the silence, if something ancient stirred in your blood while the rest of the world was asleep, you're one of us now. Click subscribe. Join the brotherhood. Not of noise, but of stillness. Not of fame, but of fire. Not of surface, but of soul. You've been watching Darkside Demeanor, and now you carry the crown, quietly, completely, alone, but never lonely. Want the next ritual, a custom build of your inner code? Drop a signal below. I'm ready for the next layer. I'll be waiting in the dark, for the ones who don't flinch anymore.